And we are getting started with our afternoon plenary. Those of you who know me know that I like to start promptly because you're all here. So I hope that okay, the screen is off, so now we're good. So I hope you've had a really wonderful day so far. That's not part of my introduction, but I do hope you really have. And I am, of course, I don't know how to do this myself. So I see that Sadie has already put in about how to change your name, and we're going to get started because there's a lot to do. So first of all, good afternoon. Welcome to our plenary. For those of you who joined us after our morning, welcome. And don't know me, I'm Fran Hildebrandt, President of Central Great Lakes Region. And for those of you who do know me, I'm still Fran Hildebrandt, President of Central Great Lakes Region. Thank you for joining us today. It's wonderful to be together, b'yachad, and I hope you're finding the conference meaningful, educational, and most of all, fun. And from everything that I am hearing, everyone is having a really good experience, and I am so happy to hear that. Toda Rabah to Carol Marks and her team for creating this wonderful program under the most adverse conditions. There were a lot of moving parts. Some of them were familiar and easy to manage, and some not so easy, requiring them to think outside the box and come up with creative and original solutions to their problems. But they did, and we are enjoying the results of their effort, energy, and time commitment toward making this the fabulous program that it really is. I'd also like to thank the presenters, if they are on this, because some of them are sisterhood members, and CGLR members who are serving as hosts and co-hosts in the workshop sessions. And a huge thank you to Sadie Shattuck and Karen Belina, who are our tech team and have been amazing, patient, enthusiastic, knowledgeable. Did I say patient? They really needed to be with us. I'd also like to take the opportunity to thank Eileen Rubin, who is our WLCJ conference consultant and chair of World Community Engagement. You'll have the opportunity to hear from her in a little while. Eileen, it has been such a pleasure to get to know you better. Carol and I are so happy that we were assigned you to advise us. We appreciate all your suggestions and thank you for your assistance. For those of you who have attended a CGLR plenary before, you'll notice that our virtual form is a little different. We would have typically limited ourselves to the welcome, the President's State of the Region address, and our elections. And all of the other items that we typically would be doing would be, we would be presenting them at other times during our 2.5 day conference. But we're taking advantage of our time together to include the speakers who otherwise might not have the opportunity to speak. We stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. We owe them a debt of gratitude for their service, commitment, energy, and time that has brought us to this day and this time. Joining us today, and of course, I have no way of really knowing, because I can't look at the participant list and read at the same time, but I'm hoping they are on it as I'm speaking. Judy Blumenow, past president of Michigan branch. Rhonda Cohn, past president CGLR. Lori B. Davis, past president of CGLR. And for those of you, I'm deviating for 1 second. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. You'll see behind me our region banner. And as I understand it, Lori commissioned it and Kitty Hoffman made it. And so it is really our banner. Carol Gottman, past president, Central Branch. Deborah Green, past president, CGLR. Cindy Martyr, past president, Central Branch. Edna Shrank, past president, CGLR. Robin Smolson, past president, Central Branch. Joyce Weingarten, past president, Michigan Branch. Please join me in thanking them for their past service and continued involvement. Let's do kind of a silent clapping. Thank you. Next, I would like to share with you the status of our region over the last 3 years. First, some statistics. We are now 29 affiliates. We have 23 individual members, which is more than twice the number we had 3 years ago. Our total membership is made up of 3,707 members. And I do wish that we had opportunity to ask questions like we would if we were in person. But please know that if you have questions about it, please email me or put it in the chat, and I will send you a personal email after the conference to answer your question. There have also been some other significant changes over the last 3 years that I'd like to report. We have improved our communication by using Zoom more, as well as other conventional forms of communication. At the beginning of this tenure, we were using Zoom to conduct meetings and had begun to develop a plan to use it for programming. But the pandemic encouraged us to amp up our efforts. We held our first Zoom program in October of 2019, before the pandemic. It was a leadership training program for sisterhood presidents. This was a first for us because we are so geographically spread apart over 7 states. We followed it up with a Torah Fund training. In January of 2021, we held our first and only hybrid region event. It was a book talk. Some of us met in person at the home of Marjorie Maxwell, our treasurer. The rest of us were on Zoom, and when that failed, by telephone. Little did we know that it was a foreshadowing of what was to come. By last year, March, we were all staying at home, and Zoom became our primary form of seeing each other. We adapted to Zoom and have become adept and successful at putting on Zoom programs. Our programs are diverse: leadership trainings, book talks, bingo, and Zentangle, to name a few. Most recently, we presented an Education Day program on genealogy entitled Preserving Your Past as a Keepsake for Your Future. It was our most complicated program until our conference today. No longer will we be forced to see each other only once a year at conference or convention. We will have choices. And finally, we're changing our form of organization. 3 years and some months ago, our previous board voted to adopt the Bold New Steps program on a trial basis that was being encouraged by Women's League at the time. Under this program, we changed our titles, and most of our board members were identified as a team lead of their office. The title was the change, not the board member's portfolio. The trial basis ends with this administration. As a result, the current board has voted to return back to the more familiar organization form of vice presidents and chairmanships. Of course, there has been much, much more that has transpired over the course of 3 years. But I don't think we have enough time for all of the other things I wish I could share. Maybe you're a little lucky about that. Instead, I would like to introduce Edna Shrank, who wears multiple hats within our region in Women's League. Until June 30th, she will remain the immediate past president of CGLR and chair of the nominating committee. It's wearing that hat that I invite her to her Zoom podium to present the slate of officers and board members for 2021 to 2024. Edna?
Thank you, Fran. It is my pleasure as nominating chair of Central Great Lakes Region to present the slate of officers and general board for the term commencing at July 1st, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2024. Executive Committee, President Pam Schlossberg, Communications Vice President Lori B. Davis, Education Vice President Fern Schwartz, Membership Vice President Gilda Schwartz, Program Vice President Robin Lash, Torah Fund Vice President Rebecca Goldwasser, Secretary Sandy Carlton, Financial Secretary Marjorie Maxwell, Treasurer Wanda Pitsley, Immediate Past President Parliamentarian Fran Hildebrandt. For General Board, Communications and Social Media Paula Ferguson, Communications Website Rachel Ferber. Our conference chair position is open. Education Israel Carol Flank. Membership Member Services Cynthia Lerner. Membership Member Support Marlene Ostro. Membership Past President's Council Lori B. Davis. Nominating Fran Hildebrandt. Program Books Renee Kaplan. Program Creative Judaic Arts Linda Abraham Braff. And Central Great Lakes Region members that are going to Women's League for Conservative Judaism Board of Directors, Fran Hildebrandt and Pam Schlossberg, and members at large, Rebecca Goldwasser, Fran Hildebrandt, Robin Lash, Cynthia Lerner, Wanda Pitsley. I'm going to correct myself. Fran is not a member at large. Respectfully submitted, Edna Shrank, nominating chair. The committee comprised of Linda Abraham Braff, Rachel Ferber, Rebecca Goldwasser, Robin Lash, Cynthia Lerner, and Fran Hildebrandt was our ex officio member. Thank you very much. And Fran. You're muted.
Just as well. Thank you, Edna, and the members of the nominating committee for your excellent work developing this wonderful slate of women. There being no additional nominations, I request, I'm looking for Bonnie Houston. Ah, there you are. There being no additional nominations, I request the secretary cast a unanimous ballot to elect the slate as presented. Thank you very much, Bonnie. My congratulations to these outstanding, dedicated, and committed women who are now elected for the 2021-2024 term of Central Great Lakes Region. And even though our new terms of office begin July 1st, we will install the incoming board and our president-elect, Pam Schlossberg, this afternoon. And even though this part is not in my script, please make sure you bring a favorite drink of yours so we can do it. We can toast everyone. There you are, Pam. Good. Once again, I want to offer to Edna and the nominating committee a thank you for their hard work and great choices. And I would like to offer to Pam and the incoming board a mazel tov. It's now my pleasure to introduce Eileen Rubin. Eileen is not only our WLCJ conference consultant and chair of World Community Engagement, and see, I'm able to say it all in one breath now. She's our cherished friend and cheerleader. So I don't have to say, let's spotlight Eileen, because she's right here, and I'm inviting her to speak.
Unmuted. Okay, thank you. Well, I think they're queuing up my, yeah, there it is already. And as Deb Lambert gets ready, I just want to say, besides the fact that it's a pleasure to be here, and I'll get to how much I love this region. But as I was listening to you talk about your previous presidents, I was at the time, Southern New Jersey branch president. I won't tell them how long ago that was, but to hear the names of the women who we always call them, the members of your class, your classmates. It was so nice to hear those names. And, so hello, if I don't get to see you later, but this was a pleasure. So now let's begin. And I use a PowerPoint so that you can't see every wrinkle in my face, and I'm huge on your screen. But anyway, so okay, well, should we get started? Deb Lambert. She must be unmuting. Deb? If Deb doesn't sing, there we go. It won't let her unmute. Sadie? Karen, can she?
There it goes. All
right. Okay, good. Okay, good. Because they don't want to hear me sing it. Okay, go ahead.
525,600 minutes. 525,000 moments so dear. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure right?
Do we dare look back over the last year? Do you remember where you were? Did you have plans? I sure know what I was doing. I was a co-chair of the upcoming 2020 Women's League Convention. And this is the exact time when we decided that it would have to be, I'm sorry, no, we're keeping it, okay. That we would have to be virtual. We were pioneers when we ventured into this. And I know your region was especially disappointed since we were all set to convene at the Hyatt in Schaumburg. We even made a trip here to plan and work with our CGL sisters. That's when I met your current president, Fran, and when I began to work with your incoming president, Pam. Mazel tov to both of them and to your region for having such wonderful leadership. And that's when I fell in love with all of you. I used to say that if I had to move to Chicago, I would do it in a minute. The Jewish resources, the many institutions, and the ladies. What an incredible group. I was so happy this year to join your region conference, and having worked with your women, I knew it would be a success. I think you've already proved that. Kudos to Carol and her committee. I know the rest of the day will be just as terrific. So stay where you are. You can take that walk tomorrow. Next slide, please. I worked with others as well. Rebecca, Debbie Lampert, who just helped me out today, Rachel Ferber, Deb Green, and then there's Edna. And you know, Edna, I can't even remember. I don't think we've ever met in person. I'm told you're a tiny woman, but to me, you fill a huge square in your Zoom box. I count Edna as a close Women's League friend. I've laughed with her, shared sorrow with her, baked with her. I practiced this so I could get through it. It's not working. I say this to you to show you the pandemic has not affected the beautiful bonds created by Women's League. And in many ways, I will show you how this has been enhanced. I love my CGL sisters, and I will tell you that International Women's League always looks to CGL for future leadership, and you never let us down. Next slide, please. So here we are 1 year later, and it's time for your conference. And part of your theme, Revive, Rebuild, Refresh, is perfect, with one additional step, reboot. Reboot takes us to one even more basic beginning. By definition, reboot means to shut down, change operating systems, create a new version, and start up again. Yikes, that's what we did. Next slide, please. How did we reinvent? First, we gave our women a place to go for services and to meet their spiritual needs. And I know Debbie mentioned that her mother passed away, Deb Green, March 13th. And I remember that there was a way for her to sit Shiva with close friends. That was the beginning. I know many of you are active participants in our daily study and prayer session. People like Debbie Lempert made the transition from being convention to philo chair to Zoom to philo chair every day. What a commitment to give us a place for Kaddish, Mishaberach prayers, and keeping us together, possibly more than before. We have studied the entire book of Psalms and have moved on to Pirkei Avot, one Mishnah each day. This actually started immediately. Second, we refused to cancel or even postpone our convention. We took it from Schomburg to Zoomberg. We rebooted and reinvented. And we actually doubled at least our attendance, as you did today.
Mhm.
And the ad journal raised more than we ever had previously. Nothing could stop us. Next slide, please. Of course, communications became a lifeline, and we had to reboot our website, our weekly messages, Instagram, whatever we could do to reach all of you and to let you know we were still up and running. I can't demonstrate our resources today, but they have been placed in the chat. These 3 websites, as well as my own contact information, was already put by Sadie and Karen into the chat. And I will say to you, you have to meet us halfway. If you don't pay attention to anything else of my talk, this is probably the most important slide, because I am going to ask you, if you're not getting our messages from Women's League every week or from your region, I'm going to ask you to put your name and email in the chat, and we will save that, and we will personally make sure that you are added to the mailing list. You will get information about programs all over the country. You can visit your sisters in Pacific Southwest, Florida. You can go all over the country and Canada. Don't want to forget Canada. Next slide, please. Have you been able to participate in any of our education sessions? This year, we have started Benot Mitzvah classes and beginning intermediate and advanced Hebrew classes. And I can't believe the ice cream truck is passing by right this Don't let it make you hungry. And after the classes, as someone mentioned, they are all recorded and put on the website so that you can review each session. There are 120 women taking Hebrew classes that meet once a week on Fridays. There are 5 different classes and 3 levels. The Bat Mitzvah class has 37 women who have enrolled for the 3-year program, which meets once a month and learn from Women's League volunteers and guest rabbis. It will culminate in a seminary at Convention 2023, which you know is being held right here in CGL, back at the Schomburg. We are now also able to participate in the Masorti Israel Days of Study. Through Zoom, we have the advantage of joining with women all over the world. These classes are given in 4 different languages. Of course, most of us choose English, but it's amazing that we are all studying at the same time, biyachad, together. Next slide, please. Women's League is known for training and leadership development, which Fran has mentioned. This year, we have provided membership seminars, and of course, we always have our consulting services sessions, which are tailored to the needs of your own sisterhood or region. Please take advantage. There are no challenges that we cannot address. Training leadership, topics such as Zoom, leadership development, sisterhood school relations, membership, yours for the asking by our trained consulting teams. Are there any incoming or ongoing sisterhood presidents in the audience? Remember that there will be special training sessions for all of you in June via Zoom. We will be in touch with you very shortly to find out exactly what you want to know as you begin or continue your administrations. In fact, it would be great if you could put your names, sisterhood's name, and your email address in the chat, and maybe even a question of what you would like us to cover at those sessions, so that I can reach out and learn about your challenges. I can't wait to get started and start working with you. I will say that the best part of your training is what you learn from each other, and the sharing you will do is invaluable. And that's why it's even more important for you to attend these sessions. Next slide, please. Social action is so important to Judaism and, of course, to Women's League. We have had ongoing personal conversations, incredible topics like organ donation, LGBT inclusion. Our projects have included Support the Girls, making blankets and shopping bags for the Chicago organization, The Ark. And this year we have Stock the Shelves to fight food insecurity, which I know you're doing locally in Cleveland as well. Our resolutions committee is actively working on topics like women's health, prison reform, and social equality. It is important that we stand up and be counted. We are proud of our work in this area. And if you'd like to see some of our resolutions, present and past, you can go onto the website and type in the search box resolutions, and they'll come up. Next slide, please. And don't think we don't know how to have fun. We had over 400 women signed up for our Jews in Film workshop and our Jews in Comedy sessions. And those women laughed for 2 hours the whole time. Challah was taught by your own Edna Shrank. And oh, the book sessions. Women's League Reads, a large online book club, a favorite and active group led by Susan Farber, who I didn't realize is also a member of this region. So you're really covering the whole gamut here. Next slide, please. A popular phrase has been here to find the silver linings of this year. What have we been able to take advantage of? Here are a few hints of things that have opened up, and you continue, please, to look for them over the next year. We connect, if you look at the different boxes, we have connected with a community of women, the Abayu Dayan Women's Association in Uganda. You'll be hearing more about them as well. We have global programming and with Masorti Olami. We attend Rosh Chodesh in Israel with Women of the Wall, and our leadership is able to participate more completely in the Conference of Presidents of Major Jewish Organizations. Next slide, please. And so here we are, a new administration, a new time, a new year. What's going to happen? What will Women's League do next? We don't know. But as you see, nothing stops us. What will be our new normal? We want to hear from you. We know with all of you helping us, we will continue to go from strength to strength. Last slide, please. We're not going to sing it again, but now it's time to look not back over the last year. It's time to look forward to the next 525,600 minutes. Are you ready? Join us. Thanks.
Thanks, Eileen. Women's League can provide us with so much. It was wonderful that you could share with us all that WLCJ has to offer sisterhoods and the region. I hope all of us today will take advantage and utilize their programs, classes, and services. And I saw in the chat that people are interested in getting copies of the chat. we can arrange that, I think. It's not about whether we can arrange, we can access it. Is I think legally, can we do that? I'm assuming so. So we'll try. So now we come to one of my very favorite parts of the program, presentations and awards. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. I must not fail to do the something that I can do. Helen Keller's quote certainly applies to these wonderful, valued volunteers. And let's face it, our volunteers are the heart and soul of our sisterhoods, Region and Women's League. In honor of our volunteers, we have created a short video we would like to share with you. In this way, we can all put a name to their faces, celebrate with them the honor they so clearly deserve. Again, they are Joan Charlson, Bethel Congregation, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Susanna Cohn, B'nai Yeshurun Congregation, Pepper Pike, Ohio. Ruth Fisher, North Suburban Synagogue, Bethel, Highland Park, Illinois. Julie Groden, Congregation Beth Shalom, Oak Park, Michigan. Rose Lynn Jaffe, Ezra Habonim, the Niles Township Jewish Congregation. Rita Kaplan, Congregation B'nai Moshe, West Bloomfield, Michigan. Sandy Levitt and Sari London, both from Congregation Beth Judea, Long Grove, Illinois. Marshall Lyons, Beth Hillel B'nai Amuna, Wilmette, Illinois. Julie Nelson Klein, Congregation Sheret Tzedek, Southfield, Michigan. Sue Pressman, Adath Israel Congregation, Cincinnati, Ohio. Terry Rifkin, Congregation Ohavi Shalom, Rockford, Illinois. Robin Rosengard, Congregation Beth Shalom, Northbrook, Illinois. Phyllis Wax, the Park Synagogue, Pepper Pike, Ohio. Lori Wertheimer, Beth Israel Ner Tamid, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Thank you, ladies, for all that you do. Your gift of time and effort enriches our sisterhoods, and we hope your lives as well. Winston Churchill said, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." Let's honor them with silent applause. I know we are going to run over, guys. I'm aware of that, and we'll just make adjustments. But we didn't want to not be able to honor the ladies who should be honored. So many of you have heard me multiple times discuss the power of sisterhood. I'd like to think I'm eloquent about it, but I'm probably not. And I always talk about the benefits of sister communities, what they can do for us, what we can offer, what we can share with each other. Sisterhoods, or affiliates as they are also called, provide us with these opportunities. These milestone awards are designed to acknowledge and celebrate how long a sisterhood has been affiliated with Women's League for Conservative Judaism. It is an honor and privilege to present these awards to the following sisterhoods. And I'm going to wait for the first slide. 65 years, Agudath B'nai Israel Synagogue, Lorain, Ohio. Affiliated in 1956, their current president is Sheila Evanchik. 70 years, next slide, please. 70 years, B'nai Yeshurun Congregation, Pepper Pike, Ohio. Affiliated in 1951, their current president is Carol Marks. Next slide. 75 years, Bethel Congregation, Akron, Ohio. Affiliated in 1946, their current president is Andrea Rabinovitz. 75 years, Beth Israel Tri-City Jewish Center, Rock Island, Illinois. Affiliated also in 1946, and their current president is Marla Andich. 101 years, the Park Synagogue Sisterhood, Pepper Pike, Ohio, affiliated in 1920, and their current president is Linda Wolf. 102 years, Adath Israel Congregation, Cincinnati, Ohio, affiliated in 1919. Their current president is Marlene Ostro. 102 years, Congregation Beth Shalom, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, affiliated in 1919, and their current president is Judy Cobell. 102 years, Temple El Emeth, Youngstown, Ohio, affiliated in 1919. Their current presidents are Paula Ferguson and Debbie Grinstein. And here is what the certificate, I'm trying to center it. Here is their certificate. That's what the certificate looks like. One will be mailed to each president to share with her sisterhood. Mazel tov to all of you, and may you go from strength to strength, or to paraphrase Spock in Star Trek, may you live long and prosper. As you know, Torah Fund strengthens and perpetuates conservative Masorti Judaism worldwide. Our contributions provide educational scholarships and other forms of assistance and support to the seminaries, to the rabbis, cantors, and educational directors who attend our seminaries. Here to tell you more about Torah Fund is Rachel Ferber, our Region Torah Fund Vice President. Rachel?
Thank you, Fran. I'd like to begin by showing you a video message from our Torah Fund International Chair, Barbara Ezring.
Apologies, it's not playing right now. Let me try again. Hold on.
Karen, if you need, I have it pulled up too. Just let me know.
Can you do it, Sadie? Because it's not working for me right now.
For those of you who have not met them, that's Karen Bellina and Sadie Shattuck, our tech team. Okay, so are we back to Rachel?
I'm so happy to be with you at your region conference. I'm Barbara Esring, International Chair of Women's League for Conservative Judaism's Philanthropy, Torah Fund. What an amazing and challenging year of fundraising we're having. Our usual approaches to raising money have been tweaked. Very special volunteers followed unique protocols to go to JTS to sort, pack, and label Torah Fund pins. Many pins traveled to a variety of cities before they reached their destinations. And some pins are still on their way to their recipients. You developed virtual Torah Fund events that wowed. You introduced your members to students and graduates of all 5 institutions of higher Jewish learning that we support. You studied Torah, learned about foods and customs in the cities of our seminaries, heard beautiful music, visited museum exhibits, mixed drinks, and honored special people in your communities. Everyone had fun. But most important, Sisterhood Torah Fund chairs and vice presidents maintained relationships with our Torah Fund donors. Thank you so much. And thank you to your Region Torah Fund Vice President. You trained, organized, emailed, phoned, attended meetings, supported your sisterhoods, and created region-wide virtual events. It is always the right time to donate to Torah Fund. Your gifts to the Torah Fund General Campaign provide programming and scholarships for students who attend the Jewish Theological Seminary in New York, Ziegler School of Rabbinic Studies in Los Angeles, Schechter Institutes in Jerusalem, Seminario Rabbinico Latino-Americano in Buenos Aires, and Zacharias Frankel College in Potsdam. Contributions to the special project, Creating New Spaces, will be used at Ziegler for the Women's League Institute on Gender Bias and Harassment, and at JTS for the Women's League Study Space in the new undergraduate residence hall. Plan for the future. Join the Torah Fund Legacy Society and ensure the future for the students of our institutions of higher Jewish learning with your bequest. We are so grateful for your creativity, your enthusiasm, and your patience during this challenging year. Toda Rabbah to each of you for your continued support and donations to Torah Fund. B'yachad, together, we guarantee Jewish continuity.
Barbara was talking about the challenges of our current campaign. I want to point out that last year's Torah Fund campaign was also impacted by the pandemic. Those sisterhoods who hosted events before March were very lucky. Those who had events planned for the spring of 2020 were thrown into unknown territory, unable to host their planned events. Some sisterhoods pivoted to virtual events, while others respected guidelines instituted by their rabbis and went quiet. Nevertheless, the women of Central Great Lakes contributed close to $114,000 to the 2019-2020 Torah Fund campaign. That's 90% of our region goal. I know this was a group effort, and I thank you all. I'd like to congratulate these sisterhoods for meeting or exceeding their 2019-2020 Torah Fund campaign goal. Adat Shalom Synagogue, Farmington Hills, Michigan. Anshe Emet, Chicago, Illinois. B'nai Yeshurun Congregation, Pepper Pike, Ohio. Congregation B'nai Moshe, West Bloomfield, Michigan. Congregation Beth Israel, Munster, Indiana. Congregation Beth Judea, Long Grove, Illinois. Congregation Beth Shalom, Oak Park, Michigan. Congregation Beth Shalom, Northbrook, Illinois. Congregation B'nai Tikva, Deerfield, Illinois. Congregation Ohavi Shalom, Rockford, Illinois. Congregation Shered Tzedek, Southfield, Michigan. Ezra Habonim, Niles Township Jewish Congregation, Skokie, Illinois. North Suburban Synagogue Bethel, Highland Park, Illinois. The Park Synagogue, Pepper Park, Ohio. And Tifereth Israel, Columbus, Ohio. The current Torah Fund campaign continues to be a challenge for all of us, but you simply became more creative with your events and persevered. We are on target to raise more for Torah Fund this year than we did last year. Great job. Thank you, Sisterhood Torah Fund chairs and committees, and thank you to every woman who donated to our powerful Jewish philanthropy that we call Torah Fund. Back to you, Fran.
Thanks, Rachel. We all appreciate how important Torah Fund is and how important our contributions are. Social action is also an important part of Women's League and CGLR. At every conference, we choose a project to support. This year, our project will continue to be in conjunction with the WLCJ initiative, Project Stock the Shelves. The purpose of the project is to reduce food insecurity by making donations to food banks in our communities. Our contributions for this conference will support the Cleveland Kosher Food Pantry in Cleveland. Here to speak on it is Harriet Rosenberg-Mann. Harriet?
Thank you, Fran. Congratulations to the regional board and the award winners. Yasher Koach to the conference planning committee, and to Carol, my president, for her 3 extraordinary years as Sisterhood president. As an alumna of the Jewish Theological Seminary and a past president of B'nai Yeshurun Congregation, it is a pleasure to participate in the Central Great Lakes Spring Conference. As a member of the Cleveland Kosher Food Pantry Advisory Board, I express tremendous gratitude to you for choosing the pantry as your social action project. The conservative synagogues in Cleveland have a direct relationship with the pantry, and many conference attendees volunteer with it. The Kosher Food Pantry was established over 40 years ago to help Russian Jews settling in Cleveland. Today, it serves all people in need from 50 zip codes across the east side of Cleveland. The pantry operates in a small space with a tiny but mighty staff and many volunteers. Due to the pandemic, 2 trailers were temporarily put on the property and the driveway was reconfigured. This allows us to pack food in the Cleveland winter under pandemic restrictions. Our bi-weekly farmers market was transformed into a drive-through, contactless distribution format. Now we will show a very, very short video that shows the packing and the drive-through. The Cleveland Kosher Food Pantry is one of the largest food relief agencies in northeastern Ohio and is a partner agency of the Greater Cleveland Food Bank. We had been serving 4,000 clients per month. The pandemic has dramatically increased the number of our neighbors served to over 6,000 per month. Those with food insecurity include many from the suburbs who now find themselves needing community support for the very first time. The weekly drive-through distribution serves over 200 families, many of whom are recently unemployed. The pantry delivers to 1,300 people in 10 senior housing apartment buildings where residents include Holocaust survivors. These seniors were in lockdown or are still uncomfortable shopping. We had to stop the group distribution site at each building. Instead, we now deliver door to door to individual apartments. The long-lasting effects of the pandemic will keep the demand high. Now, how you can help. And Karen, if you could put the next slide up, please. Oh, okay, great, thank you. Like the conference theme of nourishing our souls, the Kosher Food Pantry also nourishes the soul of the people we help by providing a connection to Judaism and lets them know the Jewish community cares. This is made possible by your donation. The food deliveries of fresh fruits and vegetables also include kosher staple products. Each week, challah is included. For Jewish holidays, deliveries include traditional foods, a brief explanation of the holiday and rituals, and sometimes items to use like Hanukkah candles. At Passover, all food is kosher for Passover and matzah and grape juice is included. We have brought to delivery sites lulav and etrog so people can fulfill the mitzvah of Sukkot. This year at Rosh Hashanah, we arranged for several outside neighborhood locations where the shofar was blown. Please take a moment to take a screenshot of this slide, or I believe the information is going to be put in the Zoom chat room. It is also on page 10 of the conference program emailed to you on Friday and Motzei Shabbat. To learn more about the pantry, go to our Facebook page, or I encourage you to watch the wonderful presentation that was given by the Kosher Food Pantry to the B'nai Yeshurun Sisterhood, and the YouTube link is right there. Lots of pictures, lots of history, lots of information about how we are operating today. You can donate by mail or online. The region would like to know how much support is generated for the pantry from the conference. So when you donate, please indicate it is in honor of the conference. And we can stop screen sharing now. In closing, thank you very much for designating the Cleveland Kosher Food Pantry and considering a donation. Every dollar helps and makes an impact. Your donation is not only generosity, it's justice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Harriet, for sharing with us. Everyone, I hope you will be generous. It's really easy to donate online. I know because I have. And thank you for attending the plenary. Now it's time for us to move on to our next session. You will need to leave this link and click on to the link associated with your session. If you're attending Lost and Found in Translation, New Israeli Literature in English, you're going to stay on this link. This is where your Zoom workshop will take place. You can find the links in the chat or in the emails that you've been sent. And of course, both Sadie and Karen are available if you have any problems getting on, and their information is also in the chat. So we are about 7 minutes off, which means our workshop will take place over the next, let's plan that we'll give everybody 2 or 3 minutes to get online, which means that we will start the workshops at 2:10. And that will also allow the hosts and co-hosts a chance to open the links before you click on them. And that then means we'll go, the workshops will go until 3:10. And then there is a 15-minute break. And that will bring us to start installation. I know I'm bouncing a little bit, but I'm writing on the table as I'm figuring out these time changes. So our installation will begin at 3:25. And when you're having that 5-minute break, be sure you get something that you love to drink so you can join us in our toast. Am I missing anything that I need to include? Are we good? Okay, so let's everyone go to our Zoom rooms and we will meet back on this main link in an hour and 15 minutes. See you then.